Hello, I'm Lilias, Ahmeira, your holistic practitioner, and I'm checking in with you again and want to go deeper into a question that I get asked a lot, and this is, why did I get so ill? Why can't I get better? And I just thought we would run through some of those reasons so that we can prevent those pitfalls and you don't fall into them and end up in my clinic room or that of other people's, so that you have the power to do something about it. And there are 6 reasons I think why people get ill, and they are major triggers and they are around all of us all the time. And the first one is toxicity. This can come from a huge variety of places. We probably live in the most industrial age ever. There are pesticides everywhere, particularly in our foods. There are pollutants being belched out of industrial chimneys with absolutely no consideration at all as to how it's going to affect our body and what the reactions are going to be. However, I think that's probably being demonstrated in the amount of autoimmune disorders that more and more people are sadly coming down with. There are huge environmental chemical toxins that we need to be aware of, like glyphosate that we throw on our crops, and then there's the awful fertilizers that leach into our water and then we drink it and it gets all into the system. There are the plastic cups and takeaway dishes that off-gas endocrine disruptors, your non-stick frying pans. All of these things are part of everyday life, but they are cumulative. Think about how, for you ladies and for you chaps now, how many different products you put on your face and your body every morning when you have a shower. All of those things are being absorbed through your skin and are creating a build-up of toxicity in your body. And then there's a huge amount of toxicity in our food, if you can call some of it that, with the E numbers and the preservatives. There are the biological toxins, as in the microbes that we don't want to have in our bodies, and the parasites that proliferate our digestive system, that like to set up residence, but they all create waste products and toxicity to the body. And then let's not forget our dentistry. Our dentistry is filled with metals and plastics and implants, and even our toothpaste, things that have got ingredients like sodium lauryl sulfate and titanium dioxide, and we put this in our mouth every day. Think about how all of these things build up and impact your body over a period of time, until such point that you come and go, oh my gosh, why am I being ill? The biggie in your dentistry obviously is metals, and there are some metals which are cytotoxic, which basically means they kill cells wherever they go. And that in turn, over time, is going to create a huge inflammatory process and exacerbate weakened areas in the body. So there are your toxins. And then you've got to add into the mix your allergens. And these can be from foods, which in my book cannot really be described as foods because they have little in them to sustain life. I'm talking about your junk foods that have so many E numbers and things in it that you can't pronounce. It's really not food. You might as well eat the cardboard it's served in. You have the sensitivities and the allergic response and triggers to food sources. You've got your gluten, your caseins, your soys, your soya, corn, and then you've got your environmental triggers outside, the pollens, the trees, the grasses, all of those things. Those are your allergens and can cause great distress to people's eyes, runny noses, inflammation, and that can cause a great deal of misery for people. And then you've got your digestion. You've got an imbalanced gut flora. And this can lead to all sorts of digestion issues, and for some, a completely miserable time with bloating and, cramping and diarrhea and constipation and the whole gambit that gets run in that area. And, you can have a yeast overgrowth. It can be exacerbated by people eating too many potatoes, which turn into sugar as they're digested, eating just too many products with sugar in them. If you want to, make inflammation in your body come down, avoid a lot of the carbohydrates that will turn into sugar. Actually avoid the sugar. Just cut out sugar. It can make a massive difference to your life. And your poor microbiome just can't cope with it. Apart from the fact if you've got parasites in it, they are going to proliferate like crazy with lots and lots of sugar, and your whole biological terrain will be altered by it. So your microbiome needs to be preserved, it needs to be nourished, and we need to look after it with lots and lots of good fresh vegetables and inulins, and that's a whole different topic. But the biological terrain and gut flora is something that can really, really go awry. So that's another trigger. One of the biggie triggers that we take for granted because it's part of our everyday life is stress. This can be caused by so many factors. For example, having a job with just, quite frankly, too many demands placed upon you. Or there's that certain person who just loves to make your life a complete and utter misery. There are the physical stresses, having to stand all day, having to carry heavy loads, manual labour. And then there are the psychological stresses, the divorce, the deaths, the moving house. And probably worst of all, there is so much of it on our news today, are the war zones. Those poor people, what they go through day in, day out, that stress can have a massive impact on their body in so many ways. And all of this can be a catalyst to trigger illness in the body. The next trigger, most people have complete control over, although they ignore it hugely, and that is nutrition. Your source of nourishment is something that many of you could take a lot more control over. Food is the information for your body, and what you eat is absolutely reflected on the outside of your body. Eating a diet that is derived from processed foods and packets does not support the body. These foods are usually devoid of any major nutritional aspects of your body. They have very little fibre, and to me they're just dead foods because they're going to create a deadness inside. There's no life force, and you need that life force to feel alive. So really look at what you're eating. In my opinion, the more, if you can have on your plate, 3/4 vegetables, greens particularly, and the rest can be your little, your protein or whatever source you want it to be, then that is amazing, and you'll basically, your body will thank you for it hugely. When you eat a diet that is lacking in nourishment, that is full of processed foods, it is a diet that becomes extremely pro-inflammatory for your body, and this can lead to an awful lot of symptoms. But for me, the biggest reason, the fundamental reason why we get ill, and it's the one that's only just beginning to be talked about at the moment, is mitochondria. It is probably the major reason why everybody gets ill at any age of their life. And I want to explain it to you a little bit. In very basic terms, your mitochondria are the powerhouses in your cells. They create the power for all the processes to happen in your body. Without sufficient power in the body, aspects of your body are going to break down. And your mitochondria are at their peak when you are about 16 years of age. So when you get to about 26, that's probably about the time that some of the research is suggesting that we officially start to age. So when you get to your 40s, it explains why we actually start to look different, and we don't have that wonderful youthful bloom of a late teenager, early 20s, who's living the life, partying like crazy, and has absolutely no cares in the world. Yes, we get more responsibilities, we get older, but that youthful bloom, a lot of people have lost it. And that is because the mitochondria has started to break down in the body, and we no longer have the same power and resources to call upon as we did when we were younger and feeling invincible. Mitochondria are extremely sensitive, and they can very, very easily be damaged by all the things we've just talked about. The stress, whether it be physical or emotional, toxicity, lack of nourishment, radiation, particularly from flying. If you're somebody who does a lot of flying, particularly long-haul flights, think about how you feel when you get to your destination. You are tired, and the reason you are tired is generally because the radiation from flying, when you fly over a certain height, it affects your mitochondria, and therefore they are not in a place to give you the same resources of energy to power that body as they were when you started your flight. So we have a conundrum here, and I'd like you to visit it with me. In the West, when we have a problem with the body, let's say it's your kidneys or your liver or your endocrine, we rush out and we support that specific area, which is all well and good, and it's great, and it will help it for a period of time. But have we actually addressed the root cause? Have we done something to make sure that that problem doesn't come back again? It's pretty unlikely, because the reason that area broke down in the first place was because there was not enough power in the mitochondria to sustain that process in the body. So if you want the body to respond and to be amazing, instead of supporting the area that's breaking down, as in the symptom, support the area that gives you the power to run all of those areas. And that way, you can sustain your entire body energy in a completely different way. And so if that liver's breaking down or the endocrine's breaking down, support the mitochondria. And, you know, if you visit me or visit my website, I can give you a very good idea on how to do that. There are wonderful protocols, particularly by Dr. Michael Kuchera, that have come out of the Russian space program. And these protocols enable you to give the mitochondria the support that it needs so that you can then enjoy the energy, the regeneration of your body, so that it can do everything that it was designed to do and give you the quality of life that your body is fully capable of giving you and operating from. So I hope that's been helpful. You now know what the major triggers are that we all have in life. If you can remove some of them from your life, ideally try and remove all of them, but it's a lifetime job. That would be awesome. Check out mitochondrial therapy. Have a look at my website. And if you are tired all the time, can't get it together, if you're one of those people who simply does not respond to supplements, you've tried everything, been from pillar to post, then mitochondrial therapy is something you really need to think about, because maybe your body simply cannot respond because it doesn't have the energy to. But once you provide that to the mitochondria, the world can be a very different place. I hope that's been helpful for you. That's Lilias, Ahmeira, your holistic practitioner, checking in with you again. I wish you all the most wonderful rest of your day, and I look forward to hearing from you when the time is right. Many thanks. Goodbye.